Hi, my name is Avery Davis, and this is my LME presentation on my Genius project. And my goal is poverty and supporting the end of poverty. So my targets for the goal is supporting the end of poverty. I have 3 targets, and they are finding multiple solutions to ending poverty, informing the people of easy but effective ways that can help end poverty, and create understanding of how people get in poverty. So explore the goal, types of poverty and their causes. So this is a little snippet about poverty, and poverty differs from country to country. And what I mean by that is, let's take a look at number 2 first. So the simple definition of poverty is a person making less than $1.90 a day. Now in Africa, this is true, like if a person's making less than $1.90 a day, they are in poverty. But say in America, for someone to be in poverty, they would have to be making, say, less than $20 a day. That's what I mean by difference from country to country. Today, there are 689 million people in poverty. This number has been on a steady decline until 2020. Coronavirus has caused 88 million more people to be in poverty. So that was the first time we've seen poverty increase in 20 years. So there are 2 types of poverty. Well, there's 2 types of poverty. Multidimensional, which means a person's income may be above the line, but their home has no electricity. They don't have good access to clean water, food. They don't have indoor plumbing, or nobody in their family has had 6 years or more education. And then the other type is extreme poverty, which is, like I said, people living on less than $1.90 a day. This is my mind map that I made, and you can look at it more in depth on my website, but it shows you the types of poverty. So it breaks off into extreme and multidimensional, and then extreme branches off into absolute and relative poverty. And then the causes, there's natural disaster, lack of jobs, low income, and lack of clean water. And I added COVID-19 because the coronavirus is so detrimental, it just made so many people go into poverty. So I added that. Interpret the goal, reducing world poverty. So I have 2 videos. I'm only going to show a snippet because you can see them on my website for more information.
Welcome to the poverty game. Question 1. People living in poverty have described poverty as A, a lack of money, B, hunger and unclean water, C, inadequate shelter, or D, all of the above. A,
lack of money. D, all of the above.
Yes, the correct answer is D, all of the above. Meet Sam and Ruth. Sam is a 16-year-old Australian male. Ruth is a 16-year-old Timorese female. Sam lives in the burbs of Brisbane and is in year 11 in his local high school with about 150 other boys and girls. If he's running late to school, Sam grabs breakfast from the shops on the way to the bus stop. Ruth lives in a community in the mountains of Timor-Leste. Sometimes weeks go by when Ruth can't attend her local.
So I wanted to add and show those videos because I feel like it's important for people to understand the differences of poverty and how it looks in different countries, and to really understand what it means for someone to be in poverty. So these are my survey results of my survey that I did. And I added these 2 pictures because I thought they were the most interesting. So on the top one, I asked the survey people for which of the following do they think is the most critical cause of poverty, and I asked them to choose 3. So the top 3 answers were low income, literal no education, and limited access to clean food and water. And this other one I thought was interesting too was I asked them, what age group do you think has the highest amount of poverty? And majority of them said 21 to 30, 31 to 40, or 11 to 20. So this is a little snippet of my analysis of the survey. I also asked, what do you think are the 3 top ways to end poverty? And most of them responded with increased clean access to food and water, get equality for all, and increase access to education. And then 31.6% believe the 20 to 30-year-olds have the highest amount of poverty. And I thought that was most interesting because in the actual answer is children ages 10 or less actually have the highest amount of poverty. And my last point is that 26.3% of respondents did not know what multidimensional poverty was. And I kind of assumed that most people didn't know that multidimensional poverty was a thing, or that there were multiple uh, different types of poverty. So that's why on my website, I made sure to reiterate that what poverty was and what the different types of poverty are. So next is my brainstorm advocacy strategy for the goal of reducing poverty. This is a little preview of my e-magazine that you can find more on my website. But in the e-magazine, I give my 4 advocacy strategies. And what they are learning and knowing. I feel like this one is important because you need to learn and know about what people go through in poverty, how people go in poverty, and understand what they need help with. Then the next strategy is to donate. That's just the easiest way to help people in poverty. And on my e-magazine, I have linked 2 reliable websites that actually donate and say what they're going to do. And then my next thing is innovation, which is creating products that can help out individuals in poverty. Instead of just giving them money when they don't have the resources, you give them the resources and a product that they can have for a long time. And the last strategy that I thought was very interesting, I watched a TED Talk, and there's more information on my website, but she basically talked about how we're flooding people with money and with these like structures that they don't have the means to keep up the support for, when instead we should be able to help them before they go into poverty. And there's more on that on my website. The next part is develop advocacy strategy for the goal, support the reduction of poverty. And this is, I did an ed puzzle on this video, and I linked the video in my presentation, but on my website, you can actually do the ed puzzle. And I asked questions in there, and I wanted the respondents to think of their own innovative ideas and just try to like brainstorm something that they think would be helpful for people in poverty. And I got some good responses, but most of the responses have already been created. So I thought it was a success because they're thinking of what they can do, but it's just somebody already made it. But on my website is the actual ed puzzle, and you can watch the video on there. And the last part is test advocacy strategies to support individuals in poverty. And I used a Google Earth tour, and I kind of took the people who did my ed puzzle, I took them on a little tour of different places around the world who have had innovative products sent to them that helps them. And it's just, I just wanted to motivate the people who saw my ed puzzle that they can do this. Like one little thing can make a huge difference for somebody.